All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Simple Scrapper Live. My name is Jennifer Wilson, and I am your guide here at Simple Scrapper. Each and every week, I come to you on Tuesday afternoon with a new topic to discuss all about simplifying your scrapbooking experience. And of course, scrapbooking is one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about, so I'm so looking forward to today's discussion. Today, we're talking about hacks for simplifying scrapbook page design. Now, many of you guys know that I don't teach a lot on design here because there's others out there who do this amazingly well. But what we do focus on are simple and easy techniques that you can use to get attractive pages completed faster. We're all about finding that balance between simplicity and productivity so that you can stay forward moving and feel happy and joyful in your hobby. We never want scrapbooking to feel like a chore or to feel too overwhelming for you. And we all deal with the same struggles: too many photos, too little time. And so each and every week here at Simple Scrapper, we break things down and help you move forward. Before I get started, I do want to call attention to a couple different things. If you are joining us in the Crowdcast room, this is where you can participate live. This is also being simulcast to Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching there, please find the Crowdcast link and come over and join us, where you can participate in a live chat with your fellow participants, as well as submit questions for me to answer live. So I'm so excited that you all are here today. And one last thing is, if you do see the green button inside the Crowdcast room right below my head, this is sponsored by the Simple Scrapper membership. That is our paid membership community. It's been going on for quite a few years now, since 2011. And it's a warm, welcoming group of women who love scrapbooking just as much as you. And we are constantly having great discussions, quarterly retreats, and I deliver new content every single month on similar topics that we talk about here. So if you feel like this is a good fit, I'd love for you to check it out. So let's dive into our topic today. And I do want to invite you to submit questions at any time. And then once I go through my notes here, we will dive into your questions. So I'm going to break this down into 3 sections. So first, we're going to talk about using different design inspiration and using ideas to plan out your page. Then I'm going to talk about how, once you kind of have that idea, how you can approach the design, kind of the next step there. And then finally, we're going to talk about some of the most common places you get stuck and how you can get around that. And that's kind of the next step in design. So we're really breaking things down into details today. All right, so the first one is related to, and especially if you saw the description, I mentioned a naughty practice. And I think this was more common in previous years, but there's been discussion that scrap lifting, or copying a layout from someone else, is actually naughty or not recommended or bad or something you shouldn't do. And I 100% disagree with that. Your scrapbooking is just for you. So unless you have some sort of role in the industry, you're on a creative team or something, it doesn't matter if you copy someone else's layout. In fact, that can be one of the best and fastest ways to train yourself to use different design techniques to emulate someone else and to model a design that you find attractive and try to recreate it. That's how you see all those how those pieces fit together, how they're using different products. And I want to encourage you to consider scrap lifting as a skill building exercise, and that's training you how to create layouts that are more attractive and faster for you to complete. And the scrap lifting process can include just kind of the composition, the overall placement of items on a page, but it can also include looking at how the artist used different supplies. And I want to encourage you to look at others' layouts and galleries and magazines and look at it with different perspectives. Look at arrangement of photos. Look at placement of embellishments. Look at use of pattern papers. Look at use of journaling or different blocks of journaling. Really go at it with a particular learning agenda in mind, and you'll be able to learn so much just from viewing layouts from other scrapbookers. All right, The next thing I want to tell you is that you might be using sketches and templates wrong. And I commonly see scrapbookers decide they want to make a page, so they go and look for a sketch or a template. And they search exhaustively through all kinds of different options. Maybe you print them out, you look at old magazines, and then you find one that just feels perfect, that strikes your fancy. And I think that while that can help you, I think there's a better way. And that's to first choose the photos that you want to scrapbook. And that could be, any number of photos. Choose those photos, print them out, and then find a sketch or a template that meets your needs. So if you're a paper scrapbooker, you'd be looking for a sketch, or if you're a digital scrapbooker, you would have already selected your photos on your computer and then you're looking for a template. I want you to start with the photos because that will help you very quickly narrow it down. It will also help you look at sketches with a new eye. Look for opportunities to, say, replace a journaling card with another photo, or add an additional photo. Once you know what you want to create on the page, these sketches then just become that starting point so that you can bring it all together. So start with your photos. And then finally, in this idea section, I want to encourage you to repeat yourself, to scraplift yourself, to use the same designs over and over, particularly the ones that you really love. I often see scrapbookers say that they're in a rut and they feel like everything looks the same. And I can understand that desire to try something new, to feel creatively invigorated. But I also don't want you to discount that there's going to be certain page compositions. There's going to be certain ways that you put together supplies. There's going to be certain ways that you print photos and put them on a page that really work for you. So you should do more of what works for you, because that's going to create the least amount of resistance and the most amount of joy. And of course, you'll get the most number of pages completed if you repeat yourself every once in a while, and to let go of that expectation that every single layout should be absolutely different. All right, let's move into the next section. And that's how you're kind of approaching the design. And this is kind of a subset of this discussion and also the next phase. And I want you to take this mindset that your style, and a lot of this is unconscious, from the products you choose, the way you take it out of your photos, every choice that you make in your scrapbooking is part of your style. And that will come through on your pages independent of your abilities or attempts or desires to match things using the same products or matching left and right of a page. And I want you to maybe, if this is an area where you struggle, where you feel like, oh, it just doesn't go together, is that I want you to step back and maybe embrace a looser definition of go together. And that your style, especially your handwriting throughout the page, the way you use certain types of embellishments, that provides a level of consistency that makes the viewing experience more fluid than maybe you think. So that's just a kind of a mindset that I'd like you to go in with. And then next, I also want to encourage you that if design is frustrating to you because of arranging multiple photos on the page, you could start with sketches, as we just discussed, but you also might want to consider, can you capture this story with a fewer number of photos? And some of you are already doing this, that you love that you can combine just 1, 2, or 3 photos with some journaling and really get the story told. But I know there's lots of you out there that want to use lots of photos on a page, but then you're trying to figure out this puzzle. How do you get them all on there? And so if that's where you struggle, I want to encourage you to try some layouts with a fewer number of photos and capture your story with more words, more symbolism in the products you choose, and see how that feels. Because I think you're going to feel that sense of simplicity and ease that you're looking for with that. And then with this is also to consider changing the page construction that you have. If you traditionally do a lot of 2-page layouts because you can get all those photos on there, to then go to a single page layout because it's a lighter, quicker experience. And it doesn't mean you can't ever do 2-page layouts, and it's never fun to try to put together that puzzle. But if you're looking for some ease, doing single page layouts with a smaller number of photos is one way to get there. And then as you're approaching a page, whether you're using a sketch or not, I also really want you to think about your design in layers. It's not this collection of adjacent things. It's about building from the ground up. So often you're starting with some pattern paper. Obviously, you're starting with your cardstock or pattern paper base. And then on top of that, you're often putting pattern papers. Sometimes you're putting additional cardstock and photos. So kind of that core foundational structure. And then on top of that is where you put your journaling and embellishments. And then beyond that, you have some additional smaller, more detailed embellishments. So try to think of building your layouts in layers rather than these adjacent puzzle pieces. And also when you're looking at others' layouts, notice those layers and how they are placing, what's the proximity of items to each other on that. And that connects well into this last section on design trouble spots. And that if you're struggling with, it just doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right, it feels off, it feels unbalanced, I want you to look at the space on the page and look at where things are overlapping, look at where things are adjacent and where there's space around items. And this takes some practice, but this idea of layers also helps. That often you're going to want to have probably more overlapping things and then some that are separate. And you want to make sure that's the space around there. You can have, basically you can draw a line through it. You don't want to have space trapped. And this gets into some different design principles, but it's about asking that little question, okay, what kind of spaces do I have here? And what's the proximity of pieces together? All right, one of the other common things that I see is choosing the pattern papers and coordinating the supplies together on a single page. And the tip I have for that is to choose a single pattern paper. Let's just say, this, my tunic here today is a pattern paper. So I'm going to choose this as my multicolored pattern paper, but then I'm going to look for papers that have oranges in them. I'm going to look for papers that have green, that have white, and that maybe are more monochromatic because then I know they're going to go with this. And that's how I bring colors together on a page relatively easily without having to spend too much time trying to wonder, does it go, does it not go? I start with one more complicated pattern and then I bring in color. And then finally, if you continually get stuck at a certain point in your layout, I know that I can create a layout and I spend the last 30 minutes just trying to figure out where to put the last embellishment. And so what often helps me is to step away. So I do a sit down time where I'm really invested. And then if I start to struggle, I know it's time to stop and put it aside for now. I can come back an hour later, the next day, and then things feel a little bit more relaxed. And often I can see what I couldn't see before, where that last embellishment goes, how to solve that particular design challenge. So don't be afraid to step away and take that time to get it in a new perspective. So I took my notes here. I hope that is helpful for you guys. That is just some of my core essential tips, and I would love to answer any questions you have about tackling design challenges that you have, or even any additional tips that you would like to share. So I'm going to check the questions here too. We have a quick logistical question from Vicky, and she says that she can't attend live but wants to watch after. She wants to know what the URL is. And so anytime that you RSVP for one of these Crowdcast events for Simple Scrapper Live, you use the exact same link to watch it live or to watch the replay later. So that's super handy. All right, and then Tiffany asks, she says, I always have a lot of journaling on a page. Are there any suggestions on design ideas that allow for that? So what I often do is, there's a couple different things. One is I love the look of journaling that just fills the page around your design elements. So you would create a layout with pattern papers that are layered together with your photos, and then any other white space you can fill with journaling. But that might not be the look that you like. It's just one idea. If you like a more structured, more minimalist design, is to start your page design with the journaling block. And this helps if you like to do hybrid layouts or even handwritten layouts, but start the design with your journaling and then add your photos embellishments from there so that you make sure that you have enough space. What I like to do is add lines for my journaling. It helps just for handwriting to make sure you write straight, but you make these journaling blocks, whether they're lines you draw or journaling cards or journaling stickers, you build them in as part of your design so that it's really part of the structure. And so I'm always considering journaling as one element on my page, and I'm trying to figure out where is this going to go in proximity to my pad and papers and to my photos. And often it's a really important element. All right, those are all the live questions I have today. All right, so I want to thank you all for being here with me live, and for those of you watching on the replay. We do this every single week. I am so grateful to be leading the Simple Scrapper community. I founded the website in 2008 as a way to document my own journey as a memory keeper and to figure out how to keep it simple in today's busy world. And I hope you'll consider checking out the membership and everything else we have at Simple Scrapper if you've enjoyed this live session today. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care.